So hi, I'm Joe CJ, and in today's video we will be going over the last Commander deck, the Host of Mordor, in the Lord of the Rings Commander-like presets. When it comes to these decks, I will not be going over the deck in its entirety. I'll be going over cards that I think are good, or cards that actually matter when it comes to the story, or unique cards. But if you want to see the deck in its entirety, there is a link down below. So let's get started. When it comes to this deck, the commander of the deck is Sauron, Lord of the Rings. For 5 blue, black and a red, you get a legendary creature, Avatar Horror, that is a mythic. When you cast the spell, amass Orcs 5, mill 5 cards, then return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. He has Trample. Whenever a commander an opponent controls dies, the ring tempts you, and he is a 9/9. And with all the other deck, there is a sub-commander, and in this deck, the sub-commander is Saruman the White Hand. For 1 blue, black and a red, you get a legendary creature, Avatar Wizard, that is a mythic. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, amass Orcs X, where X is the spell's mana value. Goblins and Orcs you control have Ward 2, and he is a 2/5. When it comes to this deck, it seems like it's going to be a Goblin or Orc Matters deck, kind of a huge tribal deck which powers up others, and I say Orc X is going to be a huge thing, or Orc Mass is going to be a huge thing in this deck. With this deck, I actually do prefer the commander than the sub-commander, which is quite rare, but I do think the commander is a bit heavy on the mana when it comes to playing them. He seems to be a plan B more than a plan A, but I also do think because of all the other Saurons in this actual set, that you could easily swap this out and put in the 3-color or 2-color Sauron and make a better deck. So we will be starting off with the creatures in this deck. When it comes to this deck, there is 27 creatures in total, and here are my favorites, all the ones that matter to the story. Coursers of Umbar, Monstrosity of the Lake, Shelob Dreadweaver, Cavern Horde Dragon, Orcust Siegemaster, Rampaging War Mammoth, the Balrog of Moria, Moria Scavenger, Scourge of the Throne, and then next we are on to the sorceries of the deck. In this deck there are 16 sorceries in total, and a lot of them are surprisingly really good, even though they are mana heavy, but they are worth when you do get to cast them. The sorceries in this deck are very powerful, so I say there is going to be a lot of ramp or a lot of mana rocks in this deck because of how powerful the sorceries are. But when it comes to the sorceries, there's only 9 I'm going to be mentioning, and those 9 are Subjugate the Hobbits, Lidless Gaze, Summons of Saruman, Too Greedy Too Deep, Wake the Dragon, Decree of Pain, Living Death, Reanimate, Treason of Isgard, and now we are on to the enchantments of the deck. In this deck there is a total of 4 enchantments, but I'll only be going over 2 of them, but I'm finding when it comes to these decks that the enchantments are the weakest in all of them. So the 2 I'm going to be going over are In the Darkness Binds Them, Fiery Inscription. When it comes to the artifacts of this deck, I was right in what I was going to be thinking. There is a total of 8 artifacts in this deck, and all of them are mana rocks. However, there is one I do want to mention because it is only in this deck that you're able to get it. So I'm just going to mention that one, and that one is Relic of Sauron. Next are instances in this deck. When it comes to this deck, there is a total of 6 instances, and I find actually out of this entire deck, the instance to be the really weakest part of this deck as a total. I'm really shocked how bad these are. However, I do need to mention some of them, so here are some on screen now. Bitter Downfall, Fact or Fiction, Thrill of Possibility, and then finally the lands of the deck. In this deck there is 38 lands, and a lot of them are surprisingly good, and I always love that when there is a 3-color commander deck they do add a triumph. So I'm going to be going over the lands I think are good in this deck, and those lands are the Black Gate, Desolate Lighthouse, Dragon Skull Summit, Drowned Catacomb, Frostboiled Snarl, Smothering Marsh, Sulphur Falls, Sunken Hollow, Crumbling Necropolis. So my thoughts and opinions in this deck as a whole. I actually find I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, there is a 3-color Sauron in the actual set, is a way better commander than the Sauron in this deck. I find that he is very good but very mana heavy, so if he dies he kind of becomes useless. I do like Saruman, hopefully I'm saying that right, in the deck, but because creatures and sorceries were the first things you see, I was like, this deck is going to be really good and really spicy. However, with the instances in the deck and the artifacts and enchantments in this deck, going through this video, it kind of got my hopes up, and then just plummeted straight down. I do think if you want to build this deck, you will have to do a lot of changes to make it somewhat good. I do think it is able to win or lose a game, but with how there's like decks that with ramp and fast mana and stuff like that, I do think winning with this deck in a, we'll say, a normal game would be very rare unless you've upgraded it quite heavily. But they're my thoughts and opinions on this commander deck. Let me know what you think of this deck in the comments down below. While you're down there, remember to like, subscribe, follow me on all my social media and share this video, and I will see you all in the next video. If you like this video, I have the previous Lord of the Rings commander deck here. I have a playlist with Is It Worth It here, and a subscribe button here.